Again, he'll be on the national radio call tonight of the national championship game with Kevin Kugler and Robbie Hummel on Westwood One. We can't wait to listen to that. He joins us now live from the Alamo Dome. Coach, you've been very generous with your time with us this season, especially on National Championship Monday. Thank you very much. How's it going?
Good to be with you. It's going well. I wish it was 2.5 hours from now, but still, we got a bunch of pre-game shows to get through, and once we get that, we'll get a chance to watch what shapes up to be a great game. So we ended up with 4 number ones here. They didn't disappoint on Saturday, and hopefully we'll get another good one tonight. I feel bad for my buddy Ryan Radke, who was doing the women's games on Westwood One also. I'm happy for Gino, but wow, tough games. It wasn't as close as I thought it was going to be going into that Final Four.
Coach, we had Deb Antonelli on the show on Saturday morning, talking about the UConn-South Carolina game and also the men's slate, and she was even saying, man, I thought the games were going to be better last night on Friday night, the 2 women's Final Four games, and then obviously the national title game, UConn winning in dominant fashion, a 12th title for Gino Auriemma. Paige Beckers wins a national championship. Coach, before we get to the actual breakdown of the game, I'm curious, because you're in San Antonio, just with the way Saturday night ended with Duke's collapse, and now we have Houston and Florida in the national championship game. Like, what's the feeling in San Antonio around this? Like, do you get the sense that a lot of people are thinking, man, we still can't believe Duke lost? Are they on to the game tonight? Like, set the stage right now, the mood in San Antonio heading into tonight's national championship game.
Well, I don't want to be crude about it. There was obviously a lot of Duke fans here, as there were Auburn fans, and there's a lot of Duke fans across the country. But I hate to say it, like when you get to a national semifinal, by midnight Saturday, all that matters are the 2 teams that are left. And as disappointed as John Shire and his team are, and same for Bruce Pearl and Auburn, it doesn't matter now. We're down to 2 teams, and when this thing's over, it's the only game you ever play. I mean, I'm not counting, been lucky enough to been in the finals of an NIT or some of the other tournaments we have now, but it's really unusual when you get ready for this game because it's the only game you're going to coach in the year if you're good. Now, I'm not talking a team that's not a good team, but if you're a good team, it's the only time you're going to play, and when it's over, you're putting the sneakers away, you're putting the uniforms away, and somebody is going to be just incredibly ecstatic and have a lifetime memory, and the other team is going to be about as disappointed as you can be. But it's a unique situation. It's always like win in advance, win, you get one more game. And this one is like yesterday was the last practice for these 2 teams. I'm sitting here watching the last practice, and particularly for guys, even the young guys, like, go back to Friday for Duke, the freshmen, you kind of figured, hey, this is their last practice, and their Duke careers came to a sudden end. But that's the good thing, and that's the toughest thing about the NCAA tournament. I mean, I love, I was 23 years in college and over 17 in the NBA, and the best thing about the NBA playoffs, when you play somebody 7 times, you generally find out who the best team is. So the best team usually wins in the NBA. The best team doesn't always win in the NCAA because it's one and done, and somebody rolls an ankle or you get a bad call, somebody gets in foul trouble, all the things that can go wrong in a given night. But we've avoided that this year. We had 4 number ones. We had the 4 teams that dominated college basketball. In Florida's case, maybe for the second half of the year, the other 3 for the entire year. And they're all here with 4 number ones. We had really good games on Saturday. So it just shapes up to be that. And I think we've got one of the best Final Fours we've had in a long, long time.
Coach, I say this every time you come on the show, and you came on with us last year during the Final Four also. I don't say this like to reopen old wounds. For people that don't know, when Coach is saying like referees blowing a game in the national championship game, I'll say it so you don't have to. Like Seton Hall and PJ Carlesimo got jobbed in the 1989 NCAA tournament final for Ramil Robinson going to the line and winning a national championship for Michigan. That's my opinion, Coach. I'm saying it so you don't have to. I hope that doesn't happen tonight either, with referees deciding the end of the game in the national championship game. So we can move on to the game tonight. Coach, I'm going to give you the betting market of the game, like who's the favorite. And as always, this is not you giving us a bet. Just curious your thought when I tell you what it is. The betting market right now has Florida as the slightest of favorites in the game, about a 1-point favorite in the game. Do you see it that way, where Florida's like a little bit better than Houston? Do you disagree with what the betting market has right now? Florida, a very small favorite over the Cougars.
No, when I was coaching, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen with my team. When it's not my team and I haven't lived with them the whole year, there's not a way in the world you have an idea. These two teams are extremely close. I mean, starting out with like an unbelievable difference at the top. You got arguably one of them, but they're ranked third best offensive team in the country against the best defensive team. There's no question about that. But Florida's really good in some other defensive metrics. They're top 20 field goal percentage defense. They're top 10 in three-point defense. They're both not good. They're great rebounding teams. Again, arguably two of the best rebounding teams in the entire country. It's a matchup. It's so difficult to separate them. Yes, you can say offense, defense is the first one. It's actually more similar to the Duke game with Houston than it was the Auburn-Florida game because, again, you got the offensive, firepower against an exceptional defensive team. But what some people were not aware of just how good a defensive team Duke is and how good a defensive team Florida is. Florida is really, really good defensively. The fact that they rebound as well as they do is a big factor. But, I mean, their three-point percentage defense is number 8 in the country. They hold teams under 30% from the field. We happen to have covered the Western Conference, the Western region before we came here. So this will be my 4th time watching Florida. And I said I was laughing with Kelvin and with Todd yesterday. Like if one of them falls behind 10 in the second half, then you have your winner because these two teams don't seem to just start going crazy until they're down 10 with like a couple minutes to go. And then Walter Clayton or L.J. Cryer or Emmanuel Smith, take your pick. They just step up and they make great plays to close it out. And I really hope – I don't necessarily hope that somebody has to come from 10 down, but I just hope we have one of those one-possession games and it ends by somebody making a shot or making a couple free throws at the end of the game, not a turnover, not a missed free throw.
Yeah, I think we're all rooting for that just as fans of the sport there. And the betting market is suggesting that we might get that later on tonight. You mentioned that you were speaking with Kelvin Sampson and Todd Golden. I want to ask you about those guys because the coaching matchup, EJ, is really, really fascinating. On one hand, you had Todd Golden trying to become one of the youngest coaches ever to win a national title, just his third year at Florida. And then on the other side, here's Kelvin Sampson, who's been to the Final Four multiple times, but has yet to climb the top of the mountain. Like, how do you see this coaching matchup where you have the young guy versus the older guy? And they also have two different styles of play where Houston likes to slow things down and Florida definitely wants to speed you up.
Yeah, it's a really good matchup. I think too much is made of that, to be honest with you. I think, for all 4 coaches who were in the Final Four, it was going to be their first time in the championship game. I mean, obviously that's something you all aspire to, and most of us are not lucky enough for that to happen. But we almost had, two of the youngest guys. It was going to be an incredible matchup. With Todd and John Shire, and everybody said, "Oh no, you got a young guy against an older guy." I mean, yeah, Calvin's going for his 800th win, which is absolutely, beyond belief. And what he's done to that Houston program that was always a good program. It's his 51st NCAA game. Todd Golden can coach. He's a really, really good coach. Both teams reflect their coaches' personalities very, very well. You've got to me. The one of the things that was a difference in the game, and I'm not taking anything away from Houston's win, but I really think the fact that Houston played in the Big 12 was tested more in terms of close games all during the year and had a much more experienced team. I really thought that was a factor in the last 5 minutes. I don't think the freshmen didn't step up and play. I mean, Cooper Flagg was unbelievable, so was Kahn, so was Kamat, But I just think overall you had a more experienced veteran team found a way to win at the end, and I don't think that was an accident. I think tonight that's a little less of a factor. Yes, Houston is still an experienced team, but you look at the experience that all the Florida guys have. I mean, Elijah Martin, it's his 12th NCAA game. Walter Clayton, it's his 8th. The other guys, I mean, it's like I think there's good experience. I don't think it's going to come down to coaching. I don't think it's going to come down to experience. I think it's going to come down to one of these two teams doing what they do best. It may come down to three-point shooting. They're both interesting. Houston, surprisingly, because we're used to Houston not being a really good perimeter shooting team. They're one of the best in the entire country. But Florida's one of the best in three-point defense. So, obviously, whatever happens on the glass is going to be a major, major factor. But you got two teams that are just so good rebounding, both boards, but particularly the offensive boards. I don't think one's going to dominate the other on the glass, but I do think like one of the other categories is going to become more important, be it turnovers or three-point shooting. I think it's going to be something like that decides the game.
Couple more minutes here with PJ Carlesimo. He'll be on the call coming up tonight. Westwood One National Radio of the national championship game between Houston and Florida with Kevin Kugler and Robbie Hummel. Nice enough to join us from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, the site of tonight's national championship game. So, Coach, final one for you here. Have about 90 seconds for the answer. Who wins the national championship game tonight, Houston or Florida, and how do you see the game playing out?
I have no clue. It's going to be a good game. That's all I care about.
Do you just have an opinion on who you think might win?
Nope, I do not. I don't pick games. I'm smart enough to know that I don't know what's going to happen, so I don't pick.
Well, I wish I had conferred with you on Saturday before taking Duke to beat Houston in the national championship. How about this then, Coach? Who do you think the best player on the court is going to be tonight for either team?
Walter Clayton. L.J. Crier's playing unbelievable. Emmanuel Spears late in the game Emmanuel Sharp, has been really good late in the game. But Walter Clayton Jr. is having a historic NCAA career. But absolutely, at the last 2 weeks, what he's done coming from behind, what he's done in the last 2-3 minutes of the game is remarkable. I mean, I can't believe it's the same. Not that he wasn't a good player, but we had him when he was a young guy playing for Rick in Albany against Connecticut. Was it 3 years ago? To see where he is right now. I mean, he's on the verge of maybe one of the most historic NCAA six-game performances ever.
He's been unbelievable. I think he looks like Steph Curry, not Steph Curry at Davidson, like Steph Curry for the Golden State Warriors. Coach, we sincerely appreciate the time. You've come on with us a couple times this season. You've been very generous joining us live from the Alamo Dome. We sincerely appreciate it. Hope it's a great game tonight. Have a great call with Kevin and Robbie, and we look forward to doing this down the line.